Welcome to Roosevelt Live Season 2. Today's topic, we're going to start off with the Stand Your Own Ground law that actually started in 2005. And recently, we've noticed that people are starting to pull out their weapons and actually firing upon other people. And we know about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I guess a guy, his home was being broken into by, I guess it was a total of 4 teenagers. 2 were outside by the fence area and 2 were actually breaking into the residence. 1 was already inside the residence, where I understand, and the other one was, I guess, coming through the window. But the homeowner pulled his weapon and shot the first one in the chest and the other one in the head. And I do believe the one that he shot in the head died. But these kids were like 15, 16 years old, so it was pretty young. It's sad to see somebody that young get their life snuffed out. But if you're going to climb in someone's window and try to rob them or whatever he was there to do, because that Stand Your Own Ground law allowed the homeowner to defend himself if he felt like his life and his wife's life at the time was in imminent danger. So he didn't get charged for that. Of course, he got charged for some type of drug paraphernalia in his home, but he didn't get charged for that. And I don't know. I like that part of the law. If you're breaking in my house, of course, that's one thing. But if it's a law that seems to reflect people actually carrying weapons outside their home and trying to defend themselves, where they believe that their lives are in imminent danger. The problem with that is that, what does that mean? It's not defined enough for us to understand what you're talking about. Because if I go outside my home and all of a sudden, somebody comes by and they flips me a finger and then they act emotionally like they're gonna get out their car. If I start shooting, I don't think the law should apply, because I don't see how my life is in imminent danger at that point. I mean, the person didn't actually get out the vehicle. They didn't swing a baseball bat. I think maybe I don't understand the law, because it needs to be more defined. Because if someone actually attacking you, and let's say they're bigger than you, and they're attacking you, and obviously you're in fear for your life at this point, you have nobody to help you, and if you pulled your weapon out to defend yourself, I can understand that, because you don't know what the person's intentions are when they're attacking you. Are they going to stop, or are they going to keep going? You don't really know. So you have a right then to definitely try to make sure you save yourself. But when we fast forward that to what just happened a couple of days ago, where at the one housing development where the kids were out skateboarding on the basketball court, and they aren't supposed to be out there because they have a rule against skateboarding. But for some reason, the guy that came out and started arguing with the kids about the skateboarding being out there, he'd have been better off just dialing that. Well, not necessarily dialing 911, because it's not an emergency, but calling a non-emergency number. Or maybe if they had security in there, in that development in particular, he could have gotten somebody to get the kids off the course where they were skateboarding. But instead, I guess the other guy came out and was trying to defend the children. And the story is sketchy, because the one guy is dead and the other guy is not talking. So other than the teenagers that can tell you what happened, because the little girl, obviously, the 9-year-old, watch her father get killed, she obviously is distraught. And they say she's still asking where her father is now, and she's going to live a life of misery. I don't think you're never going to forget seeing anybody that's more than your own family member being gunned down and bled to death in front of you. They say that this guy, after he did the shooting, he the one that called the 911 operator, sat there and waited for the police came, and pretty much then pleaded the fifth. Doesn't want to speak on the grounds that he may incriminate himself. That's the part of the Fifth Amendment. So now, but he's been arrested just recently. So apparently, whomever they are interviewing is obviously telling a story to the point where they feel like he should be arrested for this. And if he's found guilty of what they're trying to charge him with now, is manslaughter. And that's punishable by some up to 30 years in prison. So he's 69 years old. So if he goes to jail for 30 years or any amount of years, well, life as he knows is going to be over anyway. But the family of the person that got killed actually wants them to charge him with first-degree murder. And I guess I can see their point, but right now no one really knows what actually happened. Did the guy attempt to hit him or strike him, or did the guy push him? Even pushing someone doesn't constitute shooting someone, because I'm not sure why he brought a weapon outside because the kids were skateboarding, or why he may have gone back inside and got the weapon. If he did do that, I don't know the story, if the kids were skateboarding, because that don't warrant you carrying a weapon out of your home. But Florida has, ever since we allowed to get those in 2000, I just don't know exactly what year it was, but it's been a while back now, so you can carry a concealed weapon here in Florida. They passed that law, and since they did that, and I myself have a concealed weapon license, but I never pull my weapon out unless I plan on using it. And I'm not going to wave it around at people. I'm not going to threaten anybody with it, because you shouldn't pull a weapon unless there's an actual reason for it. So I never, thank goodness, had a reason to actually pull it out. It was for my protection when I worked late at night to make sure no one tried to, rob me or jack me or do whatever these people do out in the middle of the nights. But for me to bring a weapon outside because kids on a skateboard is negligent at best. And if you shoot someone that didn't have a weapon, I mean, unless he had you on the ground choking you, and and you're like, okay, you about to pass out or something, and you need to, to save yourself. I mean, can you shoot him in the foot or, in the leg, something to just slow him down? I mean, I wouldn't want to. I know I guess it's common practice when you point your weapon, usually it's at someone's chest because that's where your arms reach out to, and that's where you wind up firing at. But with me, I don't want to kill anybody, so I'll be thinking about firing a warning shot in the air or something in the ground just to kind of let the person know that, hey, don't make me do this. But I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe his temper got the best of him. I'm not sure. Obviously, he felt like he was right, and maybe he was. I don't know because no one knows the story right now. Like I said, the only people that can tell the story haven't really been telling the story. I mean, he can tell his side, but he's not going to do that. He's going to get counsel. Of course, he's no fool. You didn't shot someone, and you didn't destroy someone's family, and you destroyed a little girl's mental state of mind, which is going to haunt her for the rest of her life, I'm sure. She's going to need a lot of counseling and everything else. And then I assume this guy has a family of his own as well. Somewhere down the line, whether he has a wife or kids or cousins or somebody, even close friends, it's going to affect everybody. So I don't know. I'm still for the stand your own ground law, especially when we had the one where you had that retreat law, where you obviously had to try to get away from people that was trying to do harm to you, even within your own home, which I thought was crazy. If you break into my house, I don't care. If you break into my house, I'm going to do what I have to do to save me and mine. And I feel like you forced me if you're breaking in, because you ain't there to ask me to go to no movies. You ain't there to ask me about, do I want to get my lawn cut, anything like that. So when you break in there, all I know is one thing: I'm not going to stop firing until the bullets are gone. So I'm not an expert shooter, so I might be missing somebody. So I got to save myself. But that would be a last result. But I'm not going to run in the closet and close the door and try to retreat. So if you break in there, be prepared. You better be carrying something, because I'm definitely going to be carrying something because I'm quick with it. So don't make no mistakes. If you slip, it'll be too late. But it's no fun in that. I'm just joking about that. But it's no fun in somebody shooting a person and snuffing out someone's life. So it's a serious matter. I mean, if you think that the stand your own ground law makes a difference in the way we do business in Florida, Florida seems to set the path, because NRA is very popular here in Florida, and we've seen it. And there's other states too that adopted some of these laws, like Florida has. And I remember a while back, for a brief moment, we had this situation where you were allowed to strap a weapon. I think it was back maybe in the late 80s. I remember when it was quite a while ago, where you could strap this weapon on you, and it was like martial law. People walking around with guns strapped to their hip and everything. That wasn't even concealed. And I think that thing went maybe a couple of days, and they had to repeal that because people were walking around inside the stores. They had 6-shooters on, and people. It's like the Wild Wild West in Florida. And I think they realized they had made a mistake. Because if you're allowed to carry a gun on your waist, we're not gonna know who the criminals are or just a regular citizen. Because you imagine walking in the store and 20 people in there with guns, 9mm. All kinds of guns, 32, 38, Saturday night specials. Rugers. There's everything. You don't know if that person's there to rob, or that person there to protect, or that person's there to buy something. You don't know who's there to do what. So you can't have people carrying guns openly, and you're still not allowed to carry guns, in any federal areas. You can't have your gun, even with a concealed weapon. You can't have your gun in a school zone. There's a certain amount of footage that you have to stay away from that stuff. Even in restaurants, you can't just go in a restaurant. Even if you carrying a concealed weapon, you can't sit at the bar. You're not allowed to sit at that bar, because you can sit at the table and then you can order food and drinks. But I guess the theory is if you're at the bar, you might get to drinking, go crazy, pull your gun, start shooting. So you're not allowed to be at the bar where they're just serving drinks and have your concealed weapon on you. People that carry these things need to understand what the rules are, because I think some people don't have a clue. They just out happy that they got a gun and running around town and, showing their gun off, and people showing up in nightclubs with guns on their ankle, and you have to tell them you can't come in here like that. So what do you think? You think it's okay to stand your own ground law? Like I said again, I do like the law, because I think it does help the regular citizens to be able to protect themselves as needed without having to be worried about going to jail. Because you hesitate when somebody's trying to rob you. You hesitate because you think you might go to jail. That could be a problem for you. So you definitely don't want to be in that position.